Greetings, fellow hunters, and welcome back to my channel. This is Yumo from Yumo Gaming, and I'd like to welcome you to a Monster Hunter World news update video that I'm planning to try and put out every week at about this time, give or take. Today's news is actually big, but let me just say that this isn't just going to be Iceborne news. This is also going to be the vanilla Monster Hunter World news. That news, this will probably be the last week for vanilla news of any big thing. I'll get into that why later on in the video. But the Iceborne news, it's just going to snowball as we get closer and closer to Iceborne's release date. So, with that being said, let's start off with the news. The first thing I want to talk about is that over on the Capcom official Japanese YouTube channel, they've been starting to tease some of the new moves that are coming into Iceborne. They teased 3 videos to date. Now, the first one is just move sets that have to do with the Clutch Claw itself. This isn't anything new, it's just the 2 moves where you either grapple to the monster and you can either attack it with your weapon, or you can unload all your slinger ammo to redirect it. We've known about this since the last trailer that they put out, as well as the live stream that came with that trailer. We already knew this. And then this first weapon I want to talk about here is the Greatsword, because we kind of already knew a lot about the Greatsword's new moves too, almost to the point where I'm hoping that they actually have some more moves that they haven't told us about yet. This is probably all the new moves we're getting for the Greatsword, but, I'm hoping there's more. So, the 2 moves that I can tell that are new for the Greatsword are, well, the Clutch Claw move, which they've showcased it now, where after he grapples to the monster, he does a power hit onto the monster, gets it lodged in them, and then he forces the blade out the other side. It's actually pretty brutal, especially with the Greatsword he's using, which is a pretty basic Greatsword. Doesn't look like it's any special monster. I'm honestly not sure if that's an Iron Greatsword or a Bone Greatsword Master Rank, because it looks half and half, honestly. Because the back end of it, where the spine of the blade is iron reinforced, but the front end of the blade, where the actual blade is bone. And so I'm not 100% sure whether or not that's iron or a bone greatsword, and that's mostly because I don't use greatswords. I'm not really familiar with their current appearance in game. I haven't really looked at them that much. But yeah, it's move that aside about the appearance of the greatsword. The other new move is not new. We already knew about this. This is when the fact that they can use their slinger mid combo, and when they do so, it has a much shorter range, but the slingers have a much greater damage, which has a high chance of flinching a monster, so they can create openings for their combo that they're weaving that into. And we've also, just like with the Clutch Claw techniques, knew about this from the previous trailer and live stream, so this isn't really the news. The news for this week has to do with the fact that they've released videos on the longsword, and boy, is there a lot to talk about here. So just like with the greatsword, they showcased the longsword's new Clutch Claw move, but this one was also actually showcased in the trailer, where the longsword user attacked Bamboro with it. Now, this is something where they showcase it fighting Pookie and they have it more highlighted. But that isn't the big draw here. If there's 2 big draws, or 3 big draws, it's the armor that the character is wearing, the weapon that he's using, and the new technique that's on ground that he did. So, going in that same order, the armor that he's wearing, that makes him look like he came right out of a samurai drama. That is most likely the Master Rank Odogaron armor. And you can tell, because if you look really closely at the armor, you can see Odogaron's red design to him. even the whole like little swirled design that he has in his armor. And so yeah, this looks like it's Master Rank Odogaron armor, quite a big departure from the previous Odogaron armor, but it looks really good, honestly. The weapon is most likely the Master Rank Anjanath longsword. You can tell due to the traditional Anjanath fur on the spine of the blade and all that. But the big draw here in this video has to do with the EI slice. Or the EI slash, whichever it is. Now, for those of you that don't know, EI would roughly translate to quick draw. And is an actual, although a lot of people are saying that it makes them look like they're straight out of an anime, in actuality, EI is a technique that actually is used in Kendo. The whole premise of it is, in fact, it's the reason why katanas are shaped the way they are. They're meant to be able to be drawn out of their sheath at lightning speeds. That's why they're so thin in relative to other swords crafted throughout the world. And so the whole reason why katanas look the way they are for EI. So I think it's actually really cool that they're incorporating EI into Monster Hunter through the longsword, which is the most katana-like weapon. Now, granted, it does look a little ridiculous considering the size of the longsword in Monster Hunter. It's not a little katana. Even the ones that are most katana-like are much longer than that. These are not something you'd normally use in one hand. You use two hands for these weapons. So that the whole EI thing is just ridiculous if you think about it scale-wise. But it is actually still pretty cool. And I'd also like to point out that when they use the EI slice here against the Pookie Pookie, he follows it up directly with a Spirit Helm Breaker. But at the same time, I think this is something that can only be done if you get a perfect execution of it. And if you listen carefully in the video when he's doing it, you'll hear the same shing that longsword sounds make when they do a perfect foresight slash. So this is most likely a thing to do with the timing, which once again is just another way for the longsword user to counter an attack. And it most likely will have similar applications to the foresight slash. It's just another technique that can be woven into the combo. But yeah, so that's enough for Iceborne news for today. Now, moving on over to vanilla Monster Hunter World news. For the PC crowd, on June 7th, so that is not this Thursday, but like next Thursday, or not even, is it next Thursday? Just let me take a quick look here. Actually, it's next Friday, not the 31st this Friday, but the week after that. We have Arch-Tempered Nergigante coming over onto the PC version, and afterwards, just like with the console version, we will have all the new vanilla Monster Hunter event quests all have come at some point or another, and in other words, we'll be caught up to the console crowd, or at least up until Iceborne releases. Then we're gonna fall behind again. I have to make an updated video on that, considering this information as well, and I'm gonna give a speculation on the kind of window when I think they're gonna announce the PC release date. But yeah, the Arch-Tempered Nergigante, the console crowd considers it to be one of the better Arch-Tempered Elder Dragon fights. Not as good as Xeno'jiiva, but it's still pretty good. They say that it makes Nergigante threatening, which is good, because when I feel like I want muscle memory and I like want to get used to a weapon I haven't used in a while or something, I use Tempered Nergigante as my testing dummy. Like, a lot of people go and they hunt Great Jagras for their testing dummy to test builds. I use Nergigante, and this has to do with the fact that Nergigante was my first wall in this game. Like my previous video stated, I'm fairly new to the series. Nergigante was my first wall, and I overcame him. Because of that, similar to how a lot of people really like Tigrex, because he was a wall for them early on in their Monster Hunter careers, Nergigante is my Tigrex. he is hands down my favorite monster. And so finally being able to take the fight to him in Arch-Tempered as a PC player, that makes me really excited. Now, just to wrap up the news for today, for the event quest for this week starting on the 30th, for the PC, we are getting the Fury of El Dorado, the Call of Taras Siege, for 1 week starting on the reset here. We are also getting the Poison Posse, Triple Threat Throwdown, Rolling with the Uragon, Rock and Roll Recess, No Tomorrow for Usurpers. And over on the console side of things, they are getting Contract Woodland Spirit, so the Ancient Leshen fight. They are also getting Flesh Cleave to the Bone, Deep Green Blues, Effluvial Opera, and that is it for event quests. And that's gonna be about the a weekly thing. Is in these videos I will go over the upcoming event quest for the next week. But yeah, hope you guys all enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Well, that was it. Thank you all for watching the video. If you liked it, leave a thumbs up down there, and if you disliked it, leave a thumbs down. If you want to talk about the topic we discussed in this video, leave it down in the comments down below. If you have any feedback you would like to leave, you can do that as well. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let the Saphire Star light your way. Later, hunters.